Now time for our personality interview. It's the final segment. Before we went on the break, we were talking about Nigerian culture and how it's important for us to promote our culture. And my guest is so befitting because he is one that is truly rooted in the African culture, and he comes from a family that has built legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Grammy-nominated Afrobeat artists. I don't know if I should call you Afrobeat artist because it's like I'm limiting you. But Grammy-nominated Nigerian artist Made Kuti. Hello, Made.
Hello, Hero. How you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
You too, man.
You don't look stressed because I know you're always touring. Every single time we try to get you for a gig, you are somewhere in a country that we don't even know exists on the planet. You go to countries that I have not even heard that actually exist, and you are doing amazing gigs there. How do you stay fresh?
I do my best. I'm blessed to have a very loving support system. So no matter how busy it gets and no matter how much work we have to do, I have very loving people around me. My wife, my parents, my siblings.
Okay.
Keep you grounded.
You know, the thing is, whenever someone hears the name Kuti, your grandfather is a legend, Fela Kuti. Your name, Made Kuti. So when someone hears the Kuti, like, oh, is he related to Fela? Oh, that's Fela's grandson. But you are a new generation and you have formed a niche for yourself. You know, I see the Made even before the Kuti, and this is speaking from a personal place. I've known you for years. I listened to your song. Your first album actually got you a Grammy nomination, right?
Yes, yes. For Legacy Plus, Forward, yeah.
Exactly. So how do you stay rooted and stay authentic? And by authentic, I mean carving your own niche and carving your own path with the heaviness of that legacy?
Yeah, I think what I do is I learn from my predecessors. The only reason Afrobeat was developed was because Fela was daring enough to invent a genre of music and to try something that had never been done before. The reason songs like Sorry Sorry and Wonder Wonder and the album Shocky Shocky, which featured these really outstanding songs of the time in 1998, was because my father was daring enough to take Afrobeat into a very foreign field with, you know, more funkified, more electronic, against the wishes of, you know, a lot of conservative Afrobeat listeners. So all of them have done something that is very fresh and very intentionally experimental and true to who they are. So I think what I do is I do what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is I'm a professional musician. I have studied music, and with the knowledge I have and understanding, you know, the theories, techniques behind music, I understand my foundation and I want to search for more. So my music is exploring different sound worlds. It's exploring different techniques, different possibilities, and everything I do is something that I personally enjoy. So I don't want to, you know, give out to the public something that I don't like just because I think it's appropriate. I have to give something that I'm passionate about, and the person that likes it, you know, knows that they like something true.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful way to put it. However, do you feel any sort of pressure being a Kuti?
I don't think so. I think because, at least the way I grew up with a lot of support. My dad probably would have felt a lot of pressure because around the system, around the Kalakuta, around the shrine, was not very supportive of him. And every time he tried to do something on his own, there was a lot of criticism behind it. Whereas in my case, my dad has protected me. So even in the shrine, even at home, whenever I wanted to branch out, I've had his support no matter what direction I wanted to. Fela was more of a... It took a while before Fela accepted that my dad wanted to be his own musician, as opposed to, you know, a member of the Ijuteti. So I think the experiences that my father had with Fela in that space allowed him to, you know, bring us up in a very different way. So I don't feel pressure. If anything, I'm inspired by the legacy. I think that's what it really is.
That's really great, and I like to think that you were born into music because even from a very young age, you were already playing musical instruments. You currently play about 6, or is it more now?
Sax, trumpet, piano, bass, and sax, trumpet, piano, bass, and I don't play the drums as much, but yeah. In the album that was Grammy nominated, I played everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
You played all the
Yeah, I
instruments?
played all the... For that album, I played all the instruments myself. For this one, I played with my band. Yeah.
That even brings me to the conversation of playing live instruments as opposed to, you know, the technological assistance of making beats via the computer.
Yeah.
Do you think musicians that play live are more rooted and more grounded as opposed to the musicians that rely heavily on just the beats?
So I think both fields have their challenges, but what I do believe truly is that the personal touch of an acoustic instrument, like an instrument that produces sound the way you play it, you know, being able to write music on the spot, being able to perform on the spot, it gives you a certain amount of pride as a person, not necessarily as a musician, to be able to do something that is so difficult because it takes, you know, hours and hours. I still practice 6 hours a day. My dad still practices like 7, 8 hours a day. It's a never-ending, you know, room. There's never-ending room for development. So when you hold an instrument and you play it, there's something very personal about it. Nobody plays exactly the same way as the next person. And I think that's when we lose touch with being able to express ourselves, then I wonder if maybe we're losing touch with what it really means to be an artist. So I think if we rely too heavily on, you know, systems that are predictable or things that are easy to put together, then I think we're taking away a bit of truth from what the professionalism of music. So yeah, it takes a lot of work. So it's good to, I mean, you know, when you see a live band and you see everybody very skilled at what they do individually, it's a very nice experience.
I like the fact that you've said that, you know, you are doing what makes you happy. You are literally on your own lane. However, to the audience, you know, they necessarily might not be able to dissociate the Kuti from your name. And Fela was known for his music and how it impacted social change and how he spoke truth to power and how he was very rebellious to the government and fearless. And do you feel any pressure to sometimes maybe toe that path and speak on a particular issue on ground, or that is not just who you are?
I think that I'm very practical. So if I believed that that would bring the kind of change that I want to see, I would do it. But I feel that when Fela was alive, he was very critical of government. Not just government, but the entire state of the African mind. And he, you know, he challenged colonialism, he challenged post-colonialism. And contrary to popular belief, like I said recently, he wasn't really listened to when he was alive. Some people might have listened to the music, but it wasn't until he passed away that a lot of people started calling him a prophet. And what I very often say is, a prophet predicts the future. Fela was speaking about his immediate reality in the 70s and 80s. And what has happened is it took Africa and, in a way, the West as well, a bit more time to realize just how critical the situation was and how advanced Fela's perspective was as well. So I don't think that following the exact same method that Fela used will bring a different result today. I think also the situation that, and my father was thinking about the military regime under the military regime. You know, songs like Traitors for Africa, he was very daring. He was also beaten. He was also jailed. So I want to try something a bit different. I want to be more personal with the direction I'm going. I want to face the African as opposed to the system of, the political system or the economic system. I'm facing the individual. And the album I just released is about accountability. It's about self-awareness. It's about...
I think it's where happiness comes from.
Where does happiness
come from? That's the name of the album.
I think everybody at some point has an existential crisis. Why am I here? What is my value? Do I have any... Can I contribute to my community positively? Is it about money? Is it about houses or cars? And the question that the album poses is, if you were in the position of these people that you criticize, do you think you're equipped to be different from them? Or do you think you'll be exactly you would fit into the system the way the system functions. So we look at the political system, but they all came from our culture, right? They all came from the people. Nobody appeared in government by magic, and it's been years and years of malpractice and of us facing the elites. But I think to a strong degree, we have a responsibility to building the nation in the way that we want. And it takes a lot of not hailing the wrong people, not being a good husband, being a good brother, being a faithful, you know, husband, and being a great teacher, teaching for the benefits of the children. Because you know, I've had many good teachers, but I've had many horrible teachers, and so that's what the album is about, really. I think we just need to reflect a bit more.
I like
you know what madness is? Madness is when you do the same thing over and over again and you expect a different result. So I think if I don't try to see a different perspective, then
I like that. I like that. I like that. And I like the fact that now it's almost like you're trying to shift the focus from where the focus has always been, which is literally people in power, to the individual. So to the person listening, you know, you want people to be able to listen to your song and reflect inwards and be better afterwards.
The middle class, the ones that decide that they would rather live in America than develop their country in Nigeria. So it's a tough choice, but it's a detrimental choice. The moment you make that decision, you're contributing to the decay of the country.
That even leads me to my next question, which is, because from what you're saying, most times it's like Nigerians don't even want to stay true to themselves anymore. They seek validation elsewhere, including migration. Let's not even talk about the sound. Do you sometimes feel like, I wouldn't want to use the word diluted, do you sometimes feel like our traditional cultural sounds are no longer as it used to be? You know, is there some sort of division? Do you sometimes feel like your sound is different from what is now seen as the regular Afrobeats?
I think I understand the need for creatives to push boundaries, and I don't hold any judgment in that. I think it's very important to see what is possible, and I think it's beautiful to experiment with different cultures, and I don't think there's any harm, truly, as long as there are people that are conservative in that space. For example, classical music, as much as the West has been influenced by, you know, black music, rock, pop, they still maintain very strongly the institutions that define their music, the Beethovens, the Mozarts, the Chopins. And the same thing happens in sort of the jazz scene for the Americans. So I just think it's important that we have institutions that protect and conserve our art, as well as spaces that allow for, you know, very boundary-pushing experimentation. I'm somewhere in between, so I can't judge either side, you know.
Yes.
I think the problem is when we now want to disassociate from our culture, when we don't feel proud of who we are. That's where the issue arises. But I think if it's, let's see what's happening there, let's see if we mix this and that, you know, that's how nice food is made.
That's how nice food is made. I like that. I like that. And we've also seen when, you know, artists, Nigerian artists that have also gotten global recognition, they always pay their loyalties and they always attribute some of their influence from Fela Kuti. Some also take it a step further to, you know, their fans start comparing, oh, this is the new Fela, oh, this is... Does this comparison sometimes get to you when sometimes, you know, they just try to... do you think like any artist has sort of ridden on the Kuti legacy, so to say?
I mean, he invented the genre of music. As much as the genre has morphed over the past few decades, he still pioneered it. And I still maintain a very strong stance that with albums like Shoki Shoki and Fight to Win, my father was the first musician to start to push the envelope of Afrobeats into a more sort of electronic and funky field. As for the comparisons, I think it's important to understand what Fela is. He's not just a performer or singer, he's a composer. So if you hear his music, the drum pattern, the bass pattern, the guitar, the horn, the harmonies in the horns, the textures in the music, he writes everything. You know, there's no producer that gave him the beat and he sang on top of the track. He's writing all the parts. He's the sole lyricist of all his music.
Wow.
So songs like Trouble Sleep, Yanga Go Wake Up, or with wonderful stories like Overtake, Don't Overtake, he is using a very intelligent approach to communicating with the masses while delivering a very important message. So he does a lot.
Yeah.
And there are not many. He's also a multi-instrumentalist. So when you want to compare, you must make sure that the person you're comparing him with checks all that criteria.
And that even leads me to the person I want to compare him to, which is you. Please, I'm so excited about your body of work. Where does happiness come from? You know, what was inspiration? How many tracks are in that particular album, and where can we find the album? Well,
the album, Chapter 1, Where Does Happiness Come From, is my latest project. It's written over the course of about 4 years.
Wow.
And it is very daring. It's not conventional music, like I said earlier. It's trying to push boundaries with sound and textures and structure. And the message is basically, I truly wish for a better world. And with the kind of love I've received in this life and the way I see the world going to chaos, there's so much war, so much death, so much suffering. I feel like it's weird that human beings can repeat so many mistakes. We've been, at least we have recorded history for over 2,000 years, and still it's a bit difficult to just have world peace. So where does happiness come from? Asks the question to the individual. What do you think is the real truth behind happiness and, you know, peace in the world? And it's on all platforms, streaming, blah, 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 blah.
All right, Madi, so good to see you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Having me,
and if you're also asking yourself the very fundamental question, where does happiness come from? You already know where to find it on all streaming platforms.
Thank you.
If you want to change one thing in Nigeria, what would it be? Final question.
One thing?
Yes, one thing, just one thing.
I would change something in Africa. I would take away the borders.
You take away the borders?
Colonial structures are very deceptive. So yeah, I'll take away the borders.
Wow. That's amazing. And I think conversations around that were already happening, and even the Libyan, the late Libyan
it's a very
president.
Pan-Africanist kind of stuff.
Yes, and before you knew what was happening, it was no more. But that's very deep, and I think it's what we'll leave our viewers with. Imagine an Africa where there are no borders.
Or a lot less borders, at least.
Or a lot less borders. Thank you so much for coming on the show. That has been our show for today. My name is Hiro Daniels, and see you next time.